The distribution of relief materials to the victims of Jajarkot earthquake has received massive flack, as many of the victims have poured grievances of either not receiving support or of having to witness an unfair distribution based on access to power and politics. The dip in temperature has also added more health problems, as many are still compelled to spend their nights with no roofs over their heads. This calls on the government to ensure immediate and fair distribution of support materials to assure that the state is for the people and that the people matter. Good evening, I'm Prarambh Madhal. Let's begin with the main stories. Relief yet to reach the epicenter of Jajarkot earthquake, Rami Dada. Delay in supply of relief as army helicopters busy in carrying politicians. Parliamentary committee begins monitoring. Second session of the Federal Parliament, which formulated a single law, spends over 500 million rupees, 21.5 million spent in monthly remuneration, risks of questions on parliamentary mechanisms. Movement increases in market with Tihar drawing close, consumers purchasing lights, ornaments and nuts and dried fruits, risks of low quality products in absence of efficient monitoring. And Team Nepal taking on the United Arab Emirates at the second round of the World Cup qualifiers on the 16th of November, facing well-settled UAE side, a massive challenge for Nepal. Both governmental and non-governmental organizations have shown an active and increasing willingness to support the victims of the Jajarkot earthquake. In the past 5 days, the affected region also saw a flock of VIPs, including the President, the Prime Minister, ministers among others. However, locals in Rami Dada, which was the epicenter of last Friday's earthquake, have yet to receive a single support from the government. A few non-governmental organizations have supplied food to the victims, which the locals say is still far lesser than their current requirement. They say they are compelled to spend the cold nights under open skies. Rami Dada is some 26 kilometers from the Nalgad in the Jajarkot Dolpa Road section. So far, organizations, including the government, have just reached the headquarters Khalanga, Rawatgaon and Rukum West's Artbiscote and Nalgad municipalities. One of the many regions that relief has yet to reach in Barekot, where some 4,300 households have been affected by the earthquake. Meanwhile, the Parliament's State Affairs and Good Governance Committee has reached the earthquake-affected regions for monitoring. Committee Chair Ramhari Khatiwara has said the committee will draw the government's attention towards better management of the relief distribution works. The committee has also clarified that the visit will not incur any unnecessary expenses to the state coffers. The committee's monitoring team includes Nepali Congress's Dilendra Prasad Badu, UML's Krishna Prasad Shrestha, Maoist Centre's Hitras Pandey, and Rashtriya Swatantra Party's Buddhiman Thamang, among others. The supply of relief materials to the victims of earthquake in Jajarkot, Rukum West and Salyan has been delayed. Hundreds of victims of earthquake have been living under the open sky without food, as relief items collected in Nepalganj have yet to be taken to the affected areas amid failure in arranging transportation through the air. Despite the possibility of goods being transported through army airplanes and helicopters, the government has remained indifferent in addressing the plight of the victims. Army helicopters have been operating flights from Nepalganj airport following the devastating earthquake that caused losses of lives and properties in Jajarkot, Rukum West and Salyan. The helicopters have been busy transporting high-ranking officials, including the President, Prime Minister, ministers and other leaders to the affected areas. Meanwhile, relief materials collected at the Nepalganj airport is being transported through roadway. The relief materials brought by the aircraft of the Indian Air Force at the airport on 2 occasions was also sent to the affected areas through road. Due to this, majority of the victims have been compelled to spend the nights under the open sky during the cold winter. The victims have started flocking to Nepalganj to purchase such items to fulfill their basic needs. A number of relief materials laden trucks have headed to the affected areas today. Meanwhile, the victims have poured grievances for having to endure partiality during such difficult times. The victims have been reeling under a terrible condition, while government-owned helicopters and airplanes have been busy transporting the high-ranking officials to the disaster-affected areas. It is now time for our segment Public Polls, where you text us with your opinion.
Public poll.
Before we ask today's question, let us take a look at the result from yesterday's poll. Yesterday we asked, what should be done to control the trend of exploiting state coffers in the name of keeping personal secretaries? 63% were for A, clear criteria, 13% were for B, honesty from leadership, and 24% voted for C, tighten monitoring. And here is today's question: why are the earthquake victims yet to receive relief materials? Your options are A, incapable government, B, shortage of resources, and C, geographic complexities. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Major tasks of the Parliament include formulation of the government and laws, ensuring parliamentary monitoring, endorsing budget and parliamentary hearings. While the current Parliament formulated the government and endorsed the budget, it has yet to contribute with the formulation of laws. And despite the expenditure of more than 500 million rupees during the 180 days of the second session of the Parliament between the 7th of May and the 2nd of November, just a single law was formulated. A total of 65 meetings were held in the 6-month-long second session of the Parliament, during which 503.4 million rupees was spent. It included remunerations of the parliamentarians totaling 22.7 million rupees each month. A total of 13.2 million rupees was spent in 6 months for transport and allowances. 16.5 million rupees was spent in the remunerations of personal secretaries, while 30 million rupees was spent each month for officials of the Secretariat, electricity, water, transport and miscellaneous headings. On average, 83.9 million rupees is spent each month when meetings are held. The government paid 72 million rupees in rent for the 6 months. The session was extended even when the Parliament was not performing in an efficient manner. If the session was ended after endorsement of the budget, expenses of the 4 months could have been saved. Major political parties have accepted that the extended meetings were unnecessary as they were not productive. However, both the ruling and opposition parties have refrained from shouldering their responsibility in this regard. Proposals of public significance registered at the Parliament were not even discussed. Despite spending tens of millions of rupees, the Parliament has failed in delivering its basic duties and responsibilities. Experts have said that preparing a calendar would assist in curbing the expenditure and ensuring the efficiency of the Parliament. Such large expenditures and inefficient contribution of the Parliament are likely to create negative economic and political impacts. As questions could be raised on the entire parliamentary mechanism, it is imperative for the stakeholders to understand both the significance of the Parliament and the investments and ensure performance and accountability. A Chinese team led by Wang Zunsheng, the Communist Party Secretary of Tibet, has arrived in Nepal. Zunsheng is in Nepal for a 5-day visit. He and his team were welcomed by National Assembly Vice Chair Urmila Aryal at the Trivandrum International Airport. During his stay, Zunsheng will hold meetings with Vice President, Prime Minister and leaders of main political parties. The team is also scheduled to meet with Chief Minister of Gandaki Province on Friday and monitor the Nepal-China Cultural Exchange Program. It is now time for a short break, but for more news, to stay with us. The final hearing of the writ filed against the government's decision of granting pardon to jailed Nagarik Unmukti Party's founder, Resham Chaudhary, is to take place tomorrow. The writ petition was filed by Sharada Kadayat, the wife of Police Inspector Keshav Bora, who was killed in the Tikapur incident. Chaudhary's jail term was pardoned on the occasion of Republic Day this year. The Supreme Court had earlier upheld the decision by lower courts to imprison Resham Chaudhary for his involvement in the Tikapur massacre. However, he was granted pardon even before the detailed report of the verdict was released, which later on revealed that the Apex Court had asserted it would be wrong to politicize crimes and grant pardon in such cases. Kadayat filed a writ petition on the 30th of May demanding for scrapping of the pardon and to make Chaudhary serve full sentence in prison. The Office of the President, the Council of Ministers, Home Ministry and Resham Chaudhary are the defendants. Despite the flowers required for Tihar festival produced in Nepal, most of the other goods are imported. Like previous years, lights and dried fruits have been imported in a huge quantity. A demand for gold and silver ornaments along with copper utensils increased during Tihar. A crowd of consumers looking for such products can be seen in the marketplaces as Tihar is just a few days away. Business of lights has increased with the nearing Tihar festival. Lights are imported from China for the Tihar festival as well. The traders have said that goods double the amount of last year have been imported for this year. However, in absence of expected demand, price of such goods has decreased. Only 20 to 25 containers were imported last year from China, while around 50 containers have already been imported this year. Lights worth 2,249.8 million were imported last fiscal year, while lights worth 1,198.8 million have been purchased by the mid of October this year. In addition to the lights, consumers are also reaching marketplaces to purchase dried fruits. Price of some of the dried fruits such as cashew, peanuts, pista and coconut has reduced in comparison to last year. Cashew was sold at 1,700 rupees per kilo last year, while the price has dropped to 1,500 rupees per kilo this year. Meanwhile, price of other dried fruits has remained constant. Dried fruits worth 1.52 billion rupees were imported by mid of October last year, while dried fruits worth 1.14 billion rupees have been imported this year. But the consumers have said the price of all goods has increased. Lights and dried fruits witnessed huge transactions during Tihar. Consumer rights activists have said that the consumers are at the receiving end because of the government indifference regarding required monitoring of the quality of such goods. Electric appliances traders have shared their grievances regarding government indifference despite their demand for the quality tests of the lights. At a time when the government has not been able to ensure efficient monitoring during festivities, it is imperative for the consumers to remain aware and alert regarding the quality of goods they purchase. In our public voice segment, we have asked in several provinces what should be done to ensure the effective implementation of building construction standards. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
राष्ट्रिय भवन संहिता भन्ने घोषणा गरेको छ 2060 त्यसलाई कार्यान्वयनमा ल्याउनु पर्छ।
घर बनाउँदा उचित मात्रामा सिमेन्ट र बालुवाको प्रयोग भएको छ कि छैन सबैले चेक गर्नुपर्ने।
जसले निर्माण गरिरहेछ उहाँ नै जिम्मेवारी हुनुपर्छ।
नक्सा पास गरेको छ एकतिर घर बनाएको छ अर्कोतिर त्यसैले त्यसको अनुगमन हुन सक्यो भने मापदण्ड मजाले पूरा हुन सक्छ।
सचेतना पनि दिलाउनु पर्छ।
स्थानीय निकायले बढी जिम्मेवार बन्नुपर्छ।
नगरवासीहरूले पनि यो कुरामा सचेत भएर भोलिको क्षतिलाई अहिले नै सुझबुझ गरेर कार्यान्वयन गर्न जरुरी छ।
मुख्य गरी पालन गर्न त स्वयं व्यक्तिकै हुन्छ।
स्थानीय निकायले पनि नयाँ भवनहरू निर्माण गर्दाखेरि भवन निर्माण आचार संहिता निर्देशिकाहरूलाई पालना गराउन सक्दो प्रयास गर्नुपर्छ।
जबसम्म चाहिँ हामी यो संरचनामा हामी ध्यान दिदैनौं तबसम्म चाहिँ हाम्रो ज्यान जोखिममा छ भन्ने कुरा हामी बुझ्नुपर्छ।
चेतना फैलायो जानकारी भयो भने उहाँहरू आफसे आफ पनि नियम विपरीत जानुहुन्न।
घुस नलिकन इन्जिनियरहरूले राम्रोसँग त्यो मापदण्डमा पास गर्नु पर्यो।
सर्वसाधारणले पनि घर बनाउँदा मापदण्ड पूरा गरेर बनाउनु पर्यो।
मापदण्ड कहिले बढाउने घटाउने भने त्यो नगरिकन एउटा अलि अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय लेभलको राम्रो मापदण्ड बनाएर
वाडाले पनि आएर निरीक्षण गर्दिदा राम्रो हुन्छ।
सरकारबाट चाहिँ यो संहिताको चाहिँ सुरुवात चाहिँ छिटै होस्।
अनुगमनहरू पनि गरे हैन सरकारी निकायले गर्नुपर्ने।
जसले कार्यान्वयन गर्दैन उनीहरूलाई आवश्यक कारबाहीहरू पनि गर्नु पर्यो।
भूकम्प प्रतिरोधी घरहरू निर्माण गर्ने दिशातर्फ सरकारले अब ढिला गर्नु हुँदैन।
Well, more is coming up, but right now it is time for yet another short break.
Sports news.
Team Nepal are to begin their FIFA World Cup qualifiers second round journey from the 16th of November. A total of 26 players are at the closed camp training under head coach Vincenzo Alberto Anis for the second round. Team Nepal aim to mark a positive start with a win over the United Arab Emirates in the away match. Following their return from the UAE, Nepal will play Yemen at home. Nepal, placed 173rd in the FIFA rankings, are to take on 69th ranked the United Arab Emirates in their first match of the second round of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Paulo Bento, who played for Portugal for a period of 10 years, is the current manager of the UAE national team. He has previously managed Portugal and South Korea as well. It will not be easier for Nepal coach Vincenzo Alberto Anis to play against the strategies of such an experienced and seasoned coach.
The last 4-5 games defeat each team that he face, defeat even Costa Rica, so it's a really amazing team, and you have a quality coach. After Mourinho, he's the second coach in Portugal right now that represents Portugal. Maybe so we need to be aware that we face someone strong opponent.
Team Nepal are aiming to qualify for the third round of the World Cup qualifiers and the Asia Cup by finishing among the top two of the second round. However, the United Arab Emirates side is rich in experience. Ali Ahmed has scored 88 international goals for the UAE, while most players of the Team Nepal are young and lack experience. Therefore, Nepal must prepare extremely well for the match against a well-settled UAE side. The Nepal men's national cricket team has achieved great success in recent time. The football team is also aiming to emulate the success of their cricketing counterparts and are practicing attacking football. Enthused from the win against Laos, Team Nepal are currently free from injuries. Team Nepal will play 6 matches in the second phase. However, they are facing opponents stronger than themselves, while even securing draws against them would be of great significance. It is imperative to enhance the domestic league structure, ensure exposure and increase investment for upgrading the standard of Nepali football. That is all for the moment. Up next is the news in Nepali. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye for now.